out to another episode of It's All Been Done Radio Hour. This week we have the second of our new Meet the Cast style podcast, where we have two cast members talk to one another. This one is called When Kristin Met Yohe, and Kristin Green and Ryan Yohe sit down and they discuss things. What kinds of things? You're going to have to listen to find out, because at the time of recording this intro, I haven't heard it yet, but I'm super excited to hear it, and I will be listening to it very, very soon, hopefully today. So enjoy When Kristin Met Yohe Meet the Cast. Before we begin, though, we got to shout out to some people. We got to shout out to Circle 270 Media, which this podcast is a part of, to Mad Lab Theater, where It's All Been Done Radio Hour is based and performs live every month. Next show on Saturday, January 12th at 5 p.m. New time, 5 p.m. So you're going to want to come to Mad Lab Theater and see that. Tickets available at madlab.net/tickets. We also need to thank It's All Been Done Presents, our parent network that spun off of this podcast. It's got podcast, video series, written work, and more. All kinds of great content, including another scripted podcast called Squatch Smashers. Zeke Delfour runs a t-shirt kiosk in the Dunglewood Mall, a failing mall, with his dad, Vlad the Vampire, who he only recently discovered was his dad. And there's Jenny the Murder Robot, and there's lots of Elvis necromancers, and all kinds of craziness that I won't even get into, because you're going to need to listen to Squatch Smashers yourself. They're on season 2. It's really fantastic. You can find a link to that podcast at IABDpresents.com or subscribe to it wherever you listen to podcasts. Please also support us at patreon.com/IABD. That will let us get other programs going. If you like scripted podcasts, we'd love to do some more scripted audio, but we need more time and resources to do it. So head on over to patreon.com/IABD to help provide that time and resources, or the money to buy us the time and resources. If everybody that listens to this podcast just donated $1 or $2 a month, we would be in great shape in terms of making new content and paying for marketing, which is needed to help other people find this podcast. So please do that, and now enjoy It's All Been Done Radio Hour.
Hi, I'm Kristin.
Hi, I'm Yohe, or otherwise known as Ryan Yohe.
We're going to be having a little chat.
Yeah, we get to have an interview.
It's currently 20-something degrees, and Yohe walked in shorts, so I have to just ask, do you even own pants? Because I just can't picture you in pants, and I've known you for years, but, I'm picturing you in the snow in flip-flops and shorts for some reason.
Oh, man, I would love to do that. I do own non-shorts. I have a couple pairs of jeans. I've got big legs, and I always feel really restricted whenever I wear jeans and things like that. So
I just can't picture you in long pants for some reason, and it's such an odd thing to not be able to picture, but I can't.
I mean, there's a time and a place, especially, sweatpants. I enjoy sweatpants more, because you're a little bit more flowy. I guess flowy. But
so comfy.
Yeah, but shorts, I'm always more warm, top warm heavy.
Yeah.
So as long as my upper part's warm, I'm good.
Yeah, because I know I've definitely seen you bundled up with coat, gloves, hat, and shorts.
Yeah, that's.
Oh God.
Not to ask you, do you own shorts? Because I'm seeing you with jeans right now, and I can't even picture it not being.
Yes, I own shorts. I do. It's funny considering the show we just did together. So one thing that occurred to me when we got pulled to talk together is that you're one of only 2 people that I knew before the radio show. You and Chase are the only ones that I knew before coming into Radio Hour. But I didn't know you as a performer at all. With Chase, it was no surprise because I knew he did it. We do the band together, we did theater together. But I just knew you through him and never through theater or performing. So when Chase said, "Oh yeah, and Ryan's in it too," I was kind of surprised. I didn't know that part of you, even though I've known you for many, many years. So how long have you actually been performing? I don't know your history with theater or anything.
So I did very, very small dabbling younger in basically any like church thing or like elementary school things when there were productions.
Was
like,
that by
choice
always, or was it the third grade class is doing this?
It was definitely by choice.
Okay.
I enjoyed doing it. And then once I went into high school, we had a drama club. And so then I just got a little bit more involved from there. We didn't do anything musical because I'm from a little middle of nowhere town in southwest PA. And we didn't have the budget, or I guess the school board also didn't think we had the talent to put on anything musical-wise. So we only did one-act plays. One time we did Our Town, which was like the most like full length of a show that we had done at that point. Then in college, I took just a very rudimentary theater class. And I put priorities on different things, even though I still liked acting.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to say ran out of opportunities, but I worked a lot, and it took up a lot of my nights.
Yeah.
And so then it was just like, that's super fun, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I started working a job that was less nights oriented, and I got back into it.
That's cool. Was Radio Hour you're getting back into it?
It was my gateway drug.
Nice.
Wait, are we allowed to say drug on this thing?
I think it's a metaphor. All right, what's something you want to ask me?
So something I want to ask you. So I have some really, a little bit more personal ones, but I also have some really silly questions.
Okay.
That I was reading just like a list of like, hey, super funny interview questions. And one of them that stood out a little bit was, do you consider yourself a hunter or a gatherer?
Ooh, I'd be a gatherer. Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat. And I just had this conversation. It might have been this morning on the drive to work. Yeah, Shane and I drove together, and I think we were talking about hunting. And I was saying, even in an apocalypse situation where my survival is on the line, I still would have such a hard time killing animals. And then he pointed out very astutely that even if you had the strength and the fortitude to actually do it, we assume it's easier to hunt than it is. Like it's really hard to catch a rabbit or a deer, or to make the tools that you would need to do it. If you are without other options. But yeah, I don't think I'd be a very good hunter in any situation, whether I needed to or not.
Only if people give you guff, you hunt them.
Yes, exactly. I'd much rather hunt a human.
Disclaimer, we don't actually hunt people.
Yet.
Just give it time.
I'm actively trying not to fall into the just asking you the same question that you asked me thing. So since I've mentioned it a little bit, let's talk about the nude show, Full Exposure.
Yeah, Full Exposure.
Yeah. So we were just in a one-off so far production of an original play that we called Full Exposure, where we were all naked on stage. So when I think it was probably Jimmy, when he was first asking around to feel out like if anyone would be interested in being part of it, what were your thoughts and what made you jump in and raise your hand and say, yeah, I'll do that?
So what's funny is parts of the motivation as to why and how kind of fell into place later. But what's weird
after you'd committed?
After I'd committed. But what's the most interesting part is I can still see myself when I said yes. Like, I can picture the exact moment. It wasn't a glamorous one. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I was sitting on the toilet. It was like Saturday night, Sunday morning. And I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I happened to see that call out. A part of me was just like, I don't think... I didn't drink that night, but I was definitely in one of those like where you're so tired, where you feel like you just your inhibitions are definitely lowered. You're relaxed, but also I won't say like anxious, but just like you're just slightly unhinged. I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, there is a point where being tired, like you might as well be a little tipsy because the brain chemistry is about the same.
Oh yeah. And I saw that, and I saw a few people had already said yes, and it was more of a kind of a rally message where it's like, all right, come on, who else is interested? Because I think at that point, I know there was definitely more of a cry for females to be in.
Yeah.
But there was still, I think it might have only been folks like Seamus, maybe Shane that had said yes, and Jim since he was the one rallying. And yes, and you. And I just, let's do this. Let's go.
Back out later.
And that was my exact rationale. I was like,
really?
I can totally freak out about this later because it's going to happen like spring, summertime? Because it was February whenever I said yes.
Oh, yeah.
So it was definitely a colder time where you don't picture the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then when we finally started getting things finalized, then it was oh my God, what have I done?
Oh.
But like the first meeting or two, which was a very personal moment because I did actually admit to a group of folks an issue that I have about my body. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time I'd said it out loud in a setting with actual people and not just maybe one on like a help group or something and read about other people that share the same experiences.
Yeah, that was, as personal and difficult as it was for everyone, that was one of my favorite parts, was just sitting down with other people and just being completely honest about our own insecurities and different issues we've had, like with our physical appearance or just, the way our bodies work or don't work sometimes, or what we think other people are thinking. And it was a good experience. I just realized I hadn't really talked to you about why you decided to take that leap on the toilet at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I assume you're happy you did? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it turned out great. You were great, everyone. I'm just really proud of everyone for that show.
Oh my God. Me too. Now, I'm not trying to go into the ask each other the same question, but I am super interested about your motives or motive behind joining and the initial reactions.
Yeah. So I've always sort of wondered why we're so uptight about nudity, especially here in America, because I don't know, we all have the same parts, more or less. We all can relate to each other in one way or another, and really it's the only thing that makes it taboo is the fact that we've set in society this, that it's just accepted as taboo. Yeah, because we're taught to be modest or to be ashamed. So it didn't really make sense to me how uptight we all are about nudity. And I'd sort of spoken with some people about, would you ever be naked on film or on stage? And I said, yeah, I think I would, especially if part of the point was to sort of put in front of people our own insecurities and our own, walls about that sort of thing, and ask the questions about why it is so. And then it just turned out that a few other people had similar thoughts or interest in approaching an original show that did that exact subject. And when it was me, Shane, and Jimmy, I think when the three of us all realized we'd had that same sort of thought before, we just decided, well, let's do this. Let's see if we can get a group together and let's form a show.
Now, do you maybe even recall any old discussions or things that, because I feel like that would be something would have happened at a holiday party or something that we had earlier in the year.
I don't know when. I think it was actually at Mad Lab, an after party, probably during one of the Dirty Story Night after gatherings.
Okay.
But I have no idea what the context was where the topic of, hey, would you do a naked show? I don't know how we were all standing in the same circle and that topic just happened to come up. I don't know.
Naked play?
No.
I had the same idea.
Yeah. Which I'm sure that's what it sounded like, and we joked about it being, the naked play. But
naked play.
Yeah.
I still, when I tell a few friends, I always try to tell them, because originally when they hear that it was a fully nude show, they say you get that kind of look where they don't roll their eyes, but it's the whole oh, I get it, you're going to be naked on stage just to be naked.
Right.
And so when I was trying to tell them hey, that's not the case, I would always jokingly refer to it as, this isn't Jumping Jacks the musical.
with like how nerve-wracking it was, I can't imagine doing it with other people who weren't all as invested in the actual point of it as I was. That helped a lot, just having that support. But also, I can't really imagine going through all that just for something that's silly and pointless. Otherwise, I don't think I would have done it.
So let's say you're the new crayon in the Crayola box. You're the new one. What color would you be and why?
Oh no. I would be teal and purple swirl.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe with some like gray in there too.
What would your name be?
Oh my god.
Because you have to be a crayon name.
I would. That would be the crayon name. All right, here's one. Do you believe that aliens exist? And if so, what do you think they think of us?
Oh, God. Besides going, I don't want to touch that. I'll just leave that alone. I do believe that there are beings outside of what we see on this earth. They may be super, super, super far away, which is more so what I believe. And it may be more of entities that we are trying to rationalize and make humanized into things. But they might be more conceptual and less physical than we think. I absolutely believe that they're there in some capacity, in some intellectual capacity out there. If we will ever in our lifetime interact with them, or even as like the world's lifetime before we do ourselves in, because that's gonna happen. I don't know. I would say who's to say if we actually will make contact with them, as in they probably don't want anything to do with us. Or we might just be some type of science experiments where they just kind of dotingly like check on us every like 1,000 years, like, oh, that looks cool. Or just maybe waiting for something worth communicating to.
If they could see us currently and intervene and help us out, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, I agree. And then they probably just see things like, oh, what is their sovereign, or like what is their political structure, or how do they coexist? And they're like, oh, no thanks, I'll pass.
Like in film or like comic books or whatever, a lot of the aliens that have been imagined are humanoid in some capacity. They'll throw in weird shit that's like, oh, we've never seen, a heart in somebody's thigh before. Like, I don't know. But yeah, in general, it seems like we try to make them somewhat recognizable to us instead of, their form being something completely unfamiliar to us. Or that's what I liked about Arrival.
Yeah. Oh,
how
Arrival.
Their like form of communication, their thought process is everything, their physical form.
All right. Okay. I have a question for you, and this is radio show related.
Oh, yay.
And what is a character that you would never like to play that has ever been an IABD?
I wouldn't want to play Grezit, honestly. I was trying to think of like someone big enough that people would know who it is and not just like, oh, a one-off character that people might not remember anyway. That seems very stressful on your throat, and I'm not great at... My voice gets easily like scratchy or like feels very roughed up like after I attempt something like that.
Yeah.
I also, it's just so you. There were a couple characters that came to mind where the reason I wouldn't want to be them is because I wouldn't want to try to do what someone has done with them. But that one might be the most of all. Like, I would not want to try to do what you do with that character. I would fail, and it wouldn't be as good.
It's funny enough because I remember once upon a time on a show, I think this is definitely going to air after that one already aired. The one where it was kind of an RPG related one.
Oh, yeah.
And my character was actually pretending to be your character.
Wait, which one was pretending to be?
Grezit was pretending to be new.
Oh, I love that. That's right. So you had to voice Grezit. Oh god, that was a weird. That was an awesomely weird episode. Oh God, I loved it. I'll have to go back and listen to that.
I just remember being in the audience, growling in a new growl for it felt like it was at least 3 minutes. It was the most oh my God, do I keep this up? Do I keep going?
Yeah.
And finally I was like, all right, I'm gonna go now.
That was one of my questions, or similar to it. What of your characters, I think Jim probably asked us this in the first round, but maybe it's changed since then. Which of your characters, recurring or one-offs or any that you've ever played, is your favorite?
I am absolutely partial to Grezit, mainly him being the character that was supposed to be a guest star and turned into actually letting me be part of the cast.
Yeah.
So that's one that I feel like I owe it I won't say owe it the most, but owe it the most to making sure to flesh out and develop that character and as lovingly and menacingly as possible.
Yeah.
But I would say, Grezit aside, there's a character, and it might be my same answer. It might. I would say it was on the Top Notch Tangler. There was a character that is part of the main character's origin story. And as she was pelted by rays, this other character was also pelted by rays. I'm trying to be vague in case people haven't seen or heard.
Yeah.
But his name is Sam, which was also kind of silly to say because the Top Notch Tangler, the actress's name is Sam, so it always felt super weird saying his name out loud to her.
Yeah.
And hearing her say it to me. But that was one that overall it was really cool to see, of course knowing that all right, he was pelted with a rays too, we just haven't got to that yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Top Notch Tangler painted him into a yeah, this is probably one of my biggest regrets or my biggest things I couldn't fix or couldn't save.
Mm-hmm.
And then being that villainous character to show up, not spoiling much, but still having a bit more of a tragic background to his villainous schemes.
Yeah.
What do you think about when you are alone in your car?
Oh God.
Whoa!
I mean, it varies. Sometimes I think about the state of the world and it's very depressing. Sometimes I think about aliens and how likely it is that we'll ever get to see them, or how intelligent they may be, or if they're not quite at our intellectual level yet, then how funny that would be to get to meet them. Except then I'd be worried that we'd take over their population and try to control them somehow. So then, yeah, every thought eventually gets depressing. No. Sometimes I think about other performers that I'd want to be like especially if I'm listening to the radio and a song comes on and it's someone who has a really good stage presence. I'll try to picture myself emulating them because especially with music, in the band, well, I'm behind the keyboard most of the time, so I don't have to move much. But the few times that I've gotten to sing lead on a song and I didn't have to be behind the keyboard, or when I do karaoke, I'm so not good at commanding the stage or anything like that. Not like Chase at all. I think about, what if I were Annie Lennox and I was just this ethereal, just woman goddess who just owned it and was just a rock star, and then I try to take that with me into a performance and it never happens. Okay, we're gonna go back to IABD.
Okay.
What is... Actually, I liked your question better than just which of your characters is your least favorite. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw yours back at you again. Which character would you not want to attempt to do?
Ratcliffe.
Ah.
I don't think I could pull off Ratcliffe.
I love that both of our reasons are because we just don't think we could do it justice.
It's one of those where it's just been so cultivated and shaped lovingly by its actor that I don't want to say it would be doing a disservice, but at the same time, even just the whole fact of we don't even know how they were going to develop and how they turn out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a southern-ish British accent came out.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Yeah, but I would say, actually, I'll say both Packer and Ratcliffe. Especially because, like I said, they had both just kind of started off as a little bit of a gag to be a loving homage to the Pack Rat comics that we started in. We didn't start them. We started there.
Yeah, we started there. I was never there for that, though. So honestly, when I started coming to the shows at Mad Lab and I would see them and they'd be talking about this Pack Rat Comics, I was wondering like why that choice was made, because initially I didn't know that you had just recently moved here and that you'd used to perform there. So I just was like, this is an odd choice. I know that place exists and it's, you know, it's here in this city, but are we just pretending okay.
Yep.
I mean, I'll buy it. I'll go there with you, but you definitely get a lot of the history, and it's cool to still play or pay homage to your original home. So I really like that.
That's one thing I've talked about with a few other cast members here and there over the last couple years. Like, I genuinely do miss performing over there because it was just you get this one room, you have the audience, you have the cast and everything, where there's just like nothing to hide. You just go up and do your stuff, and sometimes we'd have like a full, like, packed audience. Sometimes it'd be a little more of an intimate one where there'd just be maybe 5 to like 15 people up in the front rows, and there was a very grassrootsy feel with it.
Yeah.
That I enjoy doing the same thing in Mad Lab, but it's a different kind of enjoyment where I feel where it's more of like a professional thing here, where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm on an actual stage.
Yeah, we have lights and speakers and yeah.
And then with Pack Rat Comics it was just like all right, cool, like we do this thing, we rehearse earlier in the day, we drive and grab food and hang out at some places, and then we go over there, do our thing.
Yeah. Maybe sometime we should do a throwback show there if they would have us.
I think that would totally be awesome.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
We should maybe look into this.
If only someone was listening who could maybe look into making that happen.
Oh man, we could even do like an old like classic episode. We can throw a new one in, and then like maybe something that bridges the gap between those.
Oh, I like that idea a lot.
All right, so now that we're in the future, this question actually is relevant to time in a sense. Would you rather live forever, but also have the body of an immortal, aka age and continue to age and be a bit more of the decrepit side, versus would you rather not live forever, but have youth, the age of your choosing for your body for the rest of your actual life?
Yeah. Being immortal would be kind of cool. Like, yeah, you would lose people if they weren't also immortal, but it's still kind of a cool opportunity for you. So I don't know that I would automatically just dismiss it and say, no, I wouldn't want to live forever. It would be very hard to disappear, like forget doing what the vampires do in Anne Rice novels where they just, you recreate your identity every so often. People would probably start to wonder why you're living so long. But I think it would be cool. I'm still leaning towards that a little bit. However, if my body still is going to age, if most of that time is going to be in a really fragile, weakened body, I don't know, that might change it. Like, how decrepit is my body going to get? We'll say probably like at the end of like a regular like mortal lifespan. So we'll say like 80 or 90 years old. Let's just say hypothetically, if you were to live that long, let's say your body just stops further aging from that point. Okay. So we'll say like picture like a late 80s, maybe early to mid 90-year-old Kristin Green. Maybe because even though that does not sound appealing, at some point science might come up with something to reverse the aging process, at which point I can be immortal and then turn my like physical aging symptoms of natural life back. I don't know. I still think it might be worth it, but yeah, I might still give it a try, but I'm a little less gung-ho about it than I think I was at our last conversation. So how about you?
All right, well, I'm going to keep my same answer from last time. Okay. And I'm actually going to be on the opposite side. I would rather keep a youthful body and just live out the whatever my natural lifespan may be. And my reasoning behind that is I feel that I would, if I had the physical means, I guess. Financial means would be another story. But for one of my big goals of trying to just get out there and see as much as I possibly can, I would love to think that me as maybe like a 20 or 30-year-old body, but being 60 or 70 years old, like climbing a mountain or doing something a little bit more, I guess, daring or risky, not like running with the bulls, but but something akin to that, where it's like being out there and knowing that like I have to be in top physical shape, at least for me, to be able to get the most out of it. And I feel that if I lived my life like that for 30, 40 years from now, my current self, I feel like I would be able to say like, yep, I got the most out of my life. It won't be the point where like I won't have to worry about loved ones, like having to keep like getting new attachments and then having to leave them over and over and over again. Also, the whole people being suspicious of you being you for so long.
In this scenario, am I the only one who has this?
I think so. I think you're the only one. So, and then just like, you'd have to keep just uprooting yourself and pretending to be someone else, albeit just you're that old person in a different place.
Did you ever see Death Becomes Her?
No, I did not. I was thinking of the Roseanne She-Devil.
So it's a good movie. I recommend it. Basically, it's people have the option to live forever, but it'll put you in like your top physical form, and that's how you will stay forever.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, these people then keep getting into these. Well, it's these group of people who have like a past and they hate each other, so they keep like killing each other or injuring each other. And it's like their bodies are so broken, like by the end, like it wouldn't have happened if they just had not,
killed each other.
Shot each other with a shotgun or bashed in someone's face with a shovel. But they did. So their like skin is peeling off. They have to keep spray painting them. They keep losing fingers. They're just falling apart. So if it's something like that, then maybe not. But I don't know. We'll see. There are a lot of variables for that.
Yeah, there are a lot of variables.
Yay!
Man.
We did it.
Also, we're in the future.
We are in the future.
We didn't
We're
blow
time
ourselves
travelers.
up, I promise.
Not yet. All right. This has been Kristin and Yohe's friend interview.
Friend interview.
Aww. This was fun. We should just do this just cause.
I agree. Also, I'm also not wearing pants.
He again is wearing shorts. Although it may have been colder last time. It's not awful out right now. But yes, I noticed when you walked in, I meant to mention that just as a bookend to this whole conversation. Yohe's once again in shorts. It is now December. Yohe will be in shorts forever.
Forever.
Whether that's 80 years or all of eternity.
Damn right. Climbing that mountain at 85 in shorts. It's cool. Whatever.
Oh, I love it. I love you. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Oh, me too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Grezzik, get out of here.
It's All Been Done Radio Hour number 156. Meet the Cast number 26, When Kristin Met Yohe, was starring Kristin Green and Ryan Yohe as themselves, talking about themselves. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out our website, it's allbeendoneradiohour.com, and donate to us on patreon.com/IABD to support the show. We release like 4 or 5 actual full episodes a month, plus usually at least 2 or 3 commercials. That's worth $1 or $2 a month, don't you think? We'd really appreciate it if you'd agree with that and make that donation at patreon.com/IABD. Have a great week. It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?